Check this out, Pop. I finally finished the pirate ship I was building for the aquarium. There.
That ship reminds me of the time I went diving for pirate treasure in the Caribbean Sea. We dove down to search for the wreck of the Grand Tesoro. The ship was said to be carrying a treasure of gems and gold back to...
I never heard of private treasure. Me neither. Is it good to eat? Here's some treasure. It's used to trade for ice cream and toys. There's hidden treasure all around this place, and you babies are going to find it for me. The baby who finds the most treasure will get to be my first mate and split it with me. I'll be waiting right here, so don't try anything funny. Got it? Don't worry. I'll go help you find that treasure. I want the treasure! Not if I find it first, Lillian! Let's go! I didn't know about this. Sounds scary.
Find the Grand Tesoro pirate treasure before the other babies!
Alright, cool. This is a much more traditional type of board. It carries over some rules from Angelica's Temple and has some of its own. The most important space to remain is the searching space, because we need to search for pirate treasure this time instead of statue pieces. And we need to we need to find 5 separate treasure pieces in order to win. Just as last time, I am Tommy, my brother is Chucky, and my sister is Lil. If you run into Susie, she will instantly find you a treasure piece in exchange for some cookies, which means you don't have to go through the guesswork of searching. All of the rules for searching and catnap squares and cookies and toy chests are in place, it's just the toy chest cards do something different this time. There are some new mechanics though. Arguably the most difficult thing about the board is that you need 5 separate treasures. You cannot carry around repeat treasures, so each time you get a treasure that you already have, another baby will be alerted to where that treasure is. The first player to get all 5 separate treasures wins. That being said, you can still have your treasures taken from you if another baby decides to do so, either through the effect of a toy chest card or through directly confronting you, which I'll make sure you see at least once. The confrontation, I mean. It's worth noting that I spawned in an incredibly advantageous position. I have pretty much an entire room to myself, and all of the searching spaces are in incredibly easy places to access for me. This board generally goes much faster than the Angelica's Temple board, and if you want a more traditional competitive board game experience, but with the mechanics, well, most of the mechanics from the previous board, then this is what that's for. All of the power-ups and all of the searching mechanics and cookie and energy mechanics are still in place. It's just this time you're working against each other instead of with each other. And unlike the Mario Party games on the Nintendo 64, you have enough influence on the outcome of events that you don't feel cheated if you lose, because you generally won because you actually played well. The roles themselves, of course, are still up to chance, but there is a greater amount of control over what you do, when you do it, and how you do it than in most board game video games, or board games in general. I'm not meaning to say this board is amazingly thrilling or any such thing, but it manages to be competitive in a lighthearted sense without making people angry at each other. Alright, so if a baby wants your treasure, you start rock, paper, scissors with them. It's pretty self-explanatory. The rock, paper, scissors pieces are replaced with pirate icons. If you win and the baby does not have a treasure piece, you just get their cookies instead. You can check which treasure pieces you have and which treasure pieces you need at any given time, but we've memorized the treasure pieces and what they are, so we don't need to do that. I've seen a few people say this game can be disorienting. Even in the comments on the last video, someone said this game can be a bit disorienting. If you find that to be the case, you can look at the map at any time at the start of a turn, and the map is very helpful, it's very clear, and you know exactly where everything is by looking at it in relevance to your character. My siblings and I have never personally had any issues figuring out where to go and how to get there, but if you do have an issue, there is a map for that specific purpose. Oh look, it's the dill space again. That's still a thing. If you would like to force yourself to be confused, however, for some god-awful reason there is an option to turn all of the squares into question mark squares, and you will not know what is there until you land on it. This option removes most of the challenge and strategy from the game and makes it luck-based garbage. So I recommend not doing that. But hey, maybe you saw other luck-based garbage board games and you were like, why isn't Rugrats like that? Well, now you can also make Rugrats garbage by turning on that setting. And you will never know where you are going ever again. But yes, ranting aside, if the camera rotates too much for you and you can't tell where you're going, you can check the map at the beginning of every turn and plan out your route that way. Now, when I play a game, I won't say I do extensive research on it, but I generally look up as many reviews as I can, and if the reviews are no longer available, I try to use the Wayback Machine to find them. I look on internet forums for the general opinion on the game, and I try to look into the development history, look at what else the developer has done, and all of that stuff, just to get a better angle on the game's development and what it means. But for this game, I didn't do any of that. At most, I can tell you I've seen the developer's name Real Time Associates a few times in the past, but that's all I've got for you. I didn't really do any research. And usually, you know, a part of me dreads doing the research because I play a lot of games that people either misunderstood or didn't appreciate properly. But in this particular case, I really don't care about setting any records straight or anything like that. For this particular game, I just don't care at all what the critical consensus for this game was. There's nothing here to misunderstand. The design is not incredibly complex or deep. It has its nuances, especially for a board game, especially for a video game board game, but it is what it is, and what it is incredibly apparent and easy to find. So if you dislike it, you've either already decided that you dislike it before you started playing, or it's not your thing, or you just think that the way the board games are designed is bad. There's not a lot to interpret here.
The deep. I did it! I found all the pirates' treasure! Thanks for finding my treasure. Hey, wait a minute! This is just junk! If that's junk, then where's the real treasure? I know, Chucky. It's in the pirate ship. Of course it's not, you dumb baby! Yes, it is, Angelica. That's where the pirate's treasure is supposed to be. There's no treasure in there, Tommy. Look, I'll prove it to you. Angelica, what are you doing? Uh-oh. You babies ruined my whole